Hi there. Have you ever felt that life is just out of control? You wake up in the morning, before your feet hit the ground, you're running. You go through your day with great speed and hurry to have something for dinner and maybe watch a little TV to just kind of cover all the things that didn't work that day and forget it a little bit so you can rest, and then you go to sleep and it all starts over again. And maybe some of you are going through high school and you're wondering, what's it all for? You know, you're studying this, memorizing that, trying to figure out what they want, how to give it to them. But who's focusing on you? Who's focusing on who your people are? Who's focusing on why you're on this earth, why you're alive? Why do you have life? Why are you here? Not too many people, right? I know they weren't with me. I left home when I was 10 years old, and I went to boys' boarding school. They just wanted to jump you and beat you up and make you feel smaller. It was a school of hard knocks. I love learning, but I didn't like the process of being judged and numbered and categorized and, given a grade. Nobody was focusing on me. They just tried to fit me into the system, and I wasn't able to do it. Not that kind of person. I can't toe a line unless I believe in it. But over the eons, I learned how to be genuine and authentic because that was the path that I was on by default. I constantly found myself in leadership positions, even though I wasn't popular. It's just that I was just who I was. And then after going away to school for 8 years, I came back to North Carolina where I'd grown up on a farm. And I went to University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, studied a lot of philosophy. I thought I wanted to be an architect. Studied mathematics, but then they didn't have an architecture school, wouldn't you know? So I studied music and poetry and philosophy and came out with a degree in environmental design. But after that, I took a class up at Harvard that combined sculpture and architecture, and I realized I wanted to be a sculptor. So I moved to New York City and learned and studied art, studied sculpture and painting, drawing. And so as an artist, I realized I needed to make some money. So I started printmaking, and company grew bigger and bigger, and we got more and more automated. Towards the end, we were creating posters and limited editions for artists and publishers, galleries, and museums all around New York City. And nobody taught me about business. And so I had to learn through the School of Hard Knocks, and believe me, you can make it there. You can make it anywhere. But the good thing is that I studied a lot of adjunct disciplines, if you will. While I was there, I was drawn to many different disciplines of, retreats, intensives, weekend studies, multiple weekend focus groups, you name it. But it was all about personal development. It's like, how do I get deeper? How do I get more connected to the juiciness of life? How do I make it more real? And so now I'm putting together Treslin as a cap on all of that I studied all of my life. When I was 18, I was a counselor at a camp for kids at risk on Long Island. That's where I realized that the Christian upbringing that I had wasn't quite enough to make these kids feel loved. These kids had been through a lot, and it wasn't going to be a walk in the park to help them come back together. But we did take them out to Long Island to this camp, and it was a healing for them. It was a healing. It was a crisis for me, because I realized, my Christian mysticism background was not enough to share with another person in a meaningful way. So over a lifetime, I've come full circle, and I realized that, growing up in the 60s is one thing, because it was a whole remake on what's real, on what the culture is based on, essential values, its relationship to the environment, to one another, to the food we eat, to the clothes we wore. to the music we made, to the love we made, the poetry, everything was all fresh. It was all never been created before. Jimi Hendrix, the whole revolution, the counterculture. We learned how to make beer and make cheese, make wine, make bread. It was a sacred time. It was a time of prophecy and breakthrough. But now we've come almost halfway around the circle, and it's the time to focus again, and without an option this time. We got to figure out, what do we stand for? Why are we here? Who are we? And what are we going to do about it? So I created Treslin Self-Development. And tres means three, lin, line, linea, 3 lines. So picture a circle with 3 spokes. Okay, spoke number 1 is, who am I? So we share with you practices and ways of getting on top of that and addressing that question and experiencing who you are. So it's not just towing a line and getting something you memorize. I'm an angel from the Pleiades or something. This is first spoke. Who am I? And that's a deep and life. It's throughout life. You're going to be touching back to that because it is a mystery, but it is something you can experience. And you will have depth experiences if you do the practices that we share with you. The other spoke of the wheel is, what am I oriented towards? What are the things that I'm really passionate about, that I'm thinking I could talk about, that I could live a life towards, contributing to? And then the third spoke of the wheel is, what am I to do with my life? How am I going to actually put into action who I am, my vision or my goal, my orientation? How am I going to put it into action? So action would be the third step of the wheel, because you may have great compassion for people around you. You may have great love. You may want to focus that love through art, through your business, through your restaurant, through the service that you provide, whatever it is, a consultation, therapist, whoever you are. You're going to be able to focus that in a fresh and new and wonderful way so that you can articulate your promise to life. And I promise you, you will be rewarded. This is all evidence-based. It's also relationship-based. Okay, so you don't have to memorize anything. You don't have to toe the company line, and you will find evidence in your life of how this works, and that's what will keep you true to yourself, authentic, unique, powerful, passionate, connected to the world around you, to the natural order of things, to one another, to the things that inspire you. And this will be the community that we create together. So I'm hoping you join us. This is the short track to delving into a meaningful life, for articulating your passion and becoming oriented towards that supports you. If you put your name and your best email on this page, I'll send you out my calendar. Meet up with me one-on-one. We'll have 15 minutes, no charge, and we'll talk about it. See where you could fit into our community, whether you want to just listen in or whether you want to be a paid member. But we are putting a community together, and we will have regular events, and we will have trainings as well, courses. And a lot of them have these practices and disciplines and distinctions embedded in them, so that you'll know more deeply than just hearsay or watching stuff on YouTube, what it is you're here to contribute. And so I do look forward to you joining us, and you can always unsubscribe. We're not going to share this list with anyone. Okay? You want to get out in front of AI? AI is just going to put you into an algorithm, and that's going to be who you are. Sound like fun? I think not. I think if you join us now, I think there's going to be joy in your life. You won't have to mask the symptoms of your malaise, your disappointment. This will be real. It'll be coming from the inside. This is more than just a manual for how to deal with this. This is a manual for how to deploy it, but in relation with others who are doing the same kind of thing in their own terms. So hopefully our paths will cross. In the meanwhile, be safe, be smart, and be cool.